If you think you need a perfectly manicured moss carpet to have an authentic Japanese garden, you've been completely lied to. In fact, trying to force moss to grow in the wrong climate is the #1 reason beginner backyard Zen projects fail. We've all seen the stunning photos of ancient Kyoto temples covered in lush, velvet green. But Kyoto has a highly specific, incredibly humid microclimate. If you live in a dry, sunny, or highly fluctuating climate, keeping traditional moss alive is basically a full-time, wildly expensive job. The good news? You don't need moss. Master designers use the ground as a canvas. You just need a visual base. A traditional karesansu or dry landscape garden uses white gravel or sand to represent water and open space. Zero watering required. If you want that green, carpeted look, native creeping thymes, low sedums, or native woodland creepers work brilliantly. These native alternatives give you the exact same lush, soft texture against your hardscaping, but they actually want to survive in your yard. So, stop fighting nature. Stop buying boxes of expensive live moss online, only to watch it turn crispy and brown in a week. Embrace your local climate. Use gravel for bright, sunny spots. And native creeping plants for your shaded areas. The philosophy of the Japanese garden is about harmony with your environment. Forcing an exotic plant to survive is the opposite of Zen. And speaking of the opposite of Zen, let's talk about the biggest misconception keeping people from starting their landscaping journey. Here's another massive lie. Japanese gardens require hours of backbreaking, daily maintenance just to keep them looking serene. People assume that because these spaces look so pristine, they must demand constant, obsessive labor. But the exact opposite is true. Think about a standard Western garden. It's packed with fussy perennial flowers that need constant deadheading, dividing, and replanting. A Japanese garden, on the other hand, relies heavily on structure. It's built with evergreens, stones, and slow-growing shrubs. Yes, the art of niwaki, or cloud pruning, takes skill. But it's highly intentional work that you usually only do once or twice a year. Once a structural plant like a boxwood or a native holly is established, it holds its shape beautifully for months at a time. And what about raking the gravel? Raking a dry landscape isn't a chore. It's an intentional, meditative practice designed to clear your mind. It takes about 10 minutes to rake a small courtyard, and it completely eliminates the need to ever mow a lawn again. In fact, replacing your thirsty, fast-growing turf lawn with a gravel sea and stone pathways drastically reduces your weekly yard work. The goal of a Zen garden isn't to create more work for yourself. It's to create a space where you can actually sit and breathe. It's about creating a slow, static landscape that marks the passage of seasons without demanding your constant attention. Which brings us to the third myth, and this is the one that stops millions of people from ever breaking ground. Think you can't have an authentic Japanese garden because you live in a scorching desert or a freezing tundra? Well, think again. It is possible. The biggest mistake people make is thinking that a Japanese garden is defined by specific Japanese plants. It isn't. The design is a philosophy. It's about recreating the essence of nature, mountains, islands, and forests, in a condensed space. You can easily capture this essence using plants that are completely native to your extreme environment. If you live in a freezing zone, you don't need a delicate, imported maple. A native pagoda dogwood offers the exact same tiered beauty. In the arid Southwest, you don't need a thirsty weeping willow. A desert willow provides that same graceful, sweeping focal point. The same rule applies to your hardscaping. You do not need to import expensive granite directly from Asia. Traditional designers always source their stones locally because they blend perfectly with the natural surroundings. By using local stone and native plants, you aren't breaking the rules of Japanese gardening. You are actually following its highest principle. You are respecting your local ecosystem and designing in harmony with what nature has already provided you. No matter where you live on Earth, the principles of scale, asymmetry, and balance can be applied to your native flora. And once you realize you can use local materials, it completely shatters our fourth and final myth. The most damaging myth of all? That building an authentic Japanese garden requires a massive, luxury, six-figure budget. People look at estate gardens with imported koi ponds, rare century-old bonsais, and $10,000 antique lanterns, and they immediately give up. But the true heart of this design style is minimalism. In Japanese art, there is a concept called ma, which means empty space. The empty space in the garden is just as important as the physical objects. You don't need to fill every inch with expensive plants. A single, well-placed rock from your local quarry, surrounded by inexpensive gravel, can be more powerful than a crowded, expensive flower bed. You don't need a fortune, you just need the right knowledge, a clear spatial plan, and the patience to let your garden grow. If you are ready to stop fighting your climate, stop wasting money, and finally build your own bulletproof backyard retreat, I've done the hard research for you. Grab our premium guide, Native Plant Substitutions for All Zones, at the link in the description below. Inside, you'll find the exact native swaps for every traditional plant, tailored to your specific climate. Every purchase helps directly fund our channel's research. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this helpful, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop your questions below. We'll see you in the next video as we continue to explore the art of the Japanese garden. Stay peaceful and happy gardening.